One of the most frustrating things about construction is the actual after service, or after the project has finished, what happens during that period of time, right? You see, a lot of people think that when they're doing construction, what should happen is that somebody come, they build the house, hand over the house to them on time, within budget, and then pay them 100%. The person leave and they occupy the space, and that's it. Nothing else. The number one thing about construction that cause a lot of bad mouthing, or the reputation that is perceived about construction in Jamaica, right? The number one thing that caused that is the defects liability period, because a lot of people don't know about it, right? So if you're in construction, or if you have built a home as a returning resident, somebody who is coming back, it is important to understand or to be aware of the defects liability period. This is a period in which you retain a part of the contract sum to cover any defects that is discovered. Now, this defects liability period is a period where you live in the house. You are supposed to live in the building, test out things, and within this period, the little defects will pop up. You will see them. So most people think that you build a house, you pay the contractor 50% upfront, and as him go along, you pay him the rest. That's what happens most of the time. So a lot of returning residents. But if you actually design your home, get it approved, do your bill of quantities, and then execute a contract, right? Execute a tender and establish a contract, there is a section of that contract that is called the defects liability period. And within that period, you retain a certain percentage of the contract sum until that period has elapsed before you actually pay the contractor that final amount, right? Now, within that period, you're going to see a lock not installed properly, a hinge off of a door never installed properly, the window never installed properly, so it's a leak, or when you try and slide the window, it not sliding properly, or maybe you have a little leak here and there, right? Within that period, you are supposed to be able to reach out to your contractor and get them to come back and actually sort out it. And if they do not do that, that money that you retained from the contract sum is supposed to be utilized to actually fix that issue. But what happens is that a lot of people think that they are saving money by not having a contract in place, because they don't want to probably pay the quantity surveyor or pay them designer, right, or a project administrator. And they become frustrated with the process because now they're in a position where they have paid the contractor all of the money for the project, right? So there's no need for him to come back to the site, right? Because you pay him all of the money already, right? And because you're now calling and not being able to get him, you now become frustrated. But if you had actually had a contract in place, everybody who knows about construction knows that once the building finish, any little issue that show up is going to show up within that period of time, right? You're not going to build a house today and you're not living in it and you're going to see any little issues. All of the issues show up at once, right? Because it's a new building. Things need to be tested. Water, you have a pipe and you turn on the pipe, you tested it. By turning it on, it running, everything is good. Over time, say over the next 6 months, you're using the pipe, you're turning it on, you turn it off. You turn it on again and it may not be running properly. Or there is debris in the line. Like when them doing the installation, dirt might have gotten in the line and that needs to be flushed out. Or maybe while somebody was on the roof, while they were putting down the membrane, something happened and a part of the membrane never got down properly, and it allows water to go underneath it. So the roof now a leak. You're not going to pick up that immediately after you just do it. You're going to pick up that as time goes by. So that contract liability period, or that defects liability period, is very important. So if you never know before, now you know why you need to actually get your drawings done, get a bill of quantities done, execute your tender, and actually have a construction contract in place. Because it's a lot of that frustration that you're going to feel will be eliminated, or it will be manageable, because you can actually use the money there to fix any little issue you have. It takes patience. It takes you actually having that contract in place and actually retaining that contract, that liability sum for the defects liability period, so that if there's an issue, you can actually get somebody in, come and sort out the issue. All right. I hope this helps somebody. I hope it reaches the right ears, and I hope that it helps you along the way. Make sure you select your contractor and actually do a contract, have a contract in place to govern your project, or to guide your project, or to execute your project. All right? Peace out.